Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. Today, the passage of Scripture we're looking at is the only biblical record of Jesus' childhood, and it's the incident at the temple when Jesus was 12. In Luke chapter 2, verses 41 to 52, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, second edition, it said, every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the Passover festival. When Jesus was 12 years old, they attended the festival as usual. After the celebration was over, they started home to Nazareth, but Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem. His parents didn't miss him at first because they assumed he was among the other travelers. But when he didn't show up that evening, they started looking for him among their relatives and friends. When they couldn't find him, they went back to Jerusalem to search for him there. 3 days later, they finally discovered him in the temple, sitting among the religious leaders, listening to them, and asking questions. All who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. His parents didn't know what to think. Son, his mother said to him, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been frantic, searching for you everywhere. But why did you need to search? He asked. Didn't you know that I must be in my father's house? But they didn't understand what he meant. Then he returned to Nazareth with them and was obedient to them. And his mother stored all these things in her heart. Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and all the people. Here's his family that faithfully went to the temple from Nazareth every year for the Passover. That's approximately an 85 to 90 mile journey on foot that they took every year to attend the Passover celebration in Jerusalem and in the temple. How many of us would walk to church if it was more than a mile or two? They traveled in large and family and neighborhood groups. They went together in large groups for protection, and just because they're all going the same way, the same place at the same time. And it was quite an enjoyable time, meeting with people you may not have seen for a while, having time to talk while you're on the road, and it was very enjoyable. Well, when it came time to leave, they just assumed he was somewhere in the large group. They didn't even imagine him not being there, but then it gets to nighttime and they're getting ready to put down for the night as they're on their way there, and they realize, where's Jesus? And so they started checking with family and friends, finding out if they knew where he was, and realized nobody had seen him. So now they start getting frantic. They head back to Jerusalem, and I can imagine they're stopping and looking and asking all the way along, have you seen a boy 12 years old? Have you seen our son? Have you seen anybody looking like him? Was he behind us? And they finally get back to Jerusalem, and they're looking around Jerusalem, and they finally get to the temple. And they see him in the temple, sitting, having serious conversations with the religious leaders. Now, it's not like it was today. Many of our religious leaders are so arrogant they would never spend any time talking to a child. They'd send him out. But these Jewish religious leaders understood the importance of teaching, and everything they saw was a teachable moment. And so they were glad to have an intelligent, bright young child to speak with, to teach, to listen to, and they had an amazingly wonderful dialogue. But the mom comes up to him and says, why? Why'd you put us through this grief? Why weren't you with us? Why didn't you go? Why? And his answer was, why are you looking for me? You should know I must be about my Father's house. I must be in my Father's house about my Father's business. And Mary just kind of kept and tucked that away in her heart with all the other strange things that had happened with this boy, and thought about it and remembered it and wasn't real sure where it was going. But he went home with them, and he stayed obedient. And the scripture says he grew in stature and wisdom and in favor with God and the people. May we recognize teachable moments in our lives. May we recognize there are people that we can learn from and teach as we go. May we be open to learning about God as we're obedient this week. God bless you.